You can flip a leather on his feet, but what we're talking about is much more complex.
What if the smartest trick in Focus is not the wallet? Not the watch? Not even the giant bet in the luxury box? What if the real trick is much quieter than that? It is making someone feel like they are choosing freely, while their attention has already been moved somewhere else. That is the strange thing about this movie. On the surface, Focus looks like a glossy con artist story. Beautiful people, fast hands, expensive rooms, or a romance that never feels completely safe. Will Smith plays Nicky like a man who has already seen every possible mistake before it happens. Margot Robbie's Jess enters his world with that dangerous mix of curiosity and instinct, like she knows she is walking into a game, but she still wants to know how the game works. And because the movie is so smooth, it is easy to watch it as a clever crime movie. Someone gets picked. Someone gets played. Someone loses money. Then the movie reveals the trick and lets us enjoy the feeling of being surprised. But the title gives away the deeper idea. Focus. Not theft. Not fraud. Not romance. Focus. The movie keeps asking one question in different ways. Who controls what you are paying attention to? That matters because the people in Focus usually do not lose because they are stupid. They lose because they are human. They look where they are invited to look. They trust confidence when it sounds clean enough. They follow desire when it feels like their own idea. They believe a choice belongs to them because nobody forced their hand. That is why the movie feels oddly modern, maybe even more now than when it came out. In America, scams do not always look like some shady stranger in an alley. Sometimes they look like a clean website, a perfect profile, a polished message, a voice that sounds official, a betting line that feels too exciting to ignore, a person who knows exactly how to sound trustworthy before you have any reason to trust them. Focus dresses this up with glamour, but the fear underneath is very ordinary. The fear is not just that someone can take something from you. It is that someone can study what you want, what you miss, what you are proud of, what makes you lonely, and then build the whole room around that weakness. Nicky understands this better than anyone. He is not just watching pockets. He is watching people, where their eyes go, when their posture changes, what makes them laugh, what makes them nervous, what makes them believe they are smarter than the room. Jess is interesting because she enters the movie wanting to learn the trick, but the more she learns, the harder it becomes to separate method from feeling. Is Nicky teaching her? Testing her? Using her? Protecting her? Falling for her? The answer keeps shifting, which is exactly why their relationship has tension. So instead of treating Focus as just a slick caper, it becomes more useful to watch it as a movie about attention. Attention as a skill. Attention as a weapon. Attention as intimacy. Attention as the one thing people think they own until someone else proves they can borrow it. And once you watch the movie that way, even the flashy scenes start to feel different. The pickpocketing is not just about hands. The Super Bowl bet is not just about numbers. The romance is not just about chemistry. The luxury is not just background. Everything is asking the same uncomfortable question. If someone knows where you are looking, how much of your choice is still yours?
I don't know what we're gonna do now.
Cute.
I touch you here, I steal from here.
A good pickpocket does not really start with the pocket. He starts with the eyes. That is one of the first things Focus quietly teaches. The physical act looks impressive, because the hands are fast and the timing is sharp. But the real work happens before the object disappears. The mark has to be placed inside a small story. They have to be made comfortable, distracted, amused, embarrassed, flattered, rushed, or socially pressured. The hands only finish what the attention has already allowed. That is why Nikki's world feels almost choreographed. People move through crowds like dancers. Touches happen at the exact moment someone is looking somewhere else. A question lands right before a hand reaches in. A laugh covers a shift in posture. The target does not feel attacked, because everything around them still feels normal. And that is the unsettling part. The con works because it does not break the social world. It uses the social world. Someone bumps into you, and you apologize. Someone speaks with confidence, and you give them a little authority. Someone acts like they belong, and your brain often accepts the performance before checking the fact. This is not because people are foolish. It is because daily life requires shortcuts. We cannot investigate every smile, every tone, every gesture, every person who walks close to us. Focus turns those shortcuts into a language. When Nikki teaches Jess, he is not only teaching her how to steal. He is teaching her how attention behaves. He shows her that people look at faces before they look at hands. They protect their pride before they protect their wallet. They react to pressure before they analyze the situation. And when the environment is busy enough, they accept confusion as normal. That is why these scenes feel both fun and uncomfortable. The movie wants us to enjoy the skill. The timing is clean. The movement is exciting. The crew works like a machine. There is pleasure in watching a plan work perfectly. But the movie also lets us feel how easy the mark's role can be. A person is surrounded by confidence, timing, and noise, and suddenly the thing they thought was safe is gone. This has a clear modern echo. The digital version of the pickpocket does not need to stand next to you on the street. It can be a message that creates urgency. A fake login page that looks professional. A caller who sounds calm and official. A dating profile that knows how to feel personal. A social media account that appears credible because the images are polished and the tone is confident. The tool changes, but the weak point is still human attention. What Focus understands is that attention is not just visual. It is emotional. If someone can make you feel rushed, your attention narrows. If someone can make you feel chosen, your suspicion drops. If someone can make you feel smart, you may stop checking whether the room has been built around your ego. This is why Nikki is so dangerous. He is not loud. He does not need to overpower people. He just needs to know which part of them is easiest to move. And Jess learns quickly because she is watching more than the technique. She is watching the posture behind it. The calm. The charm. The emotional distance. The ability to enter a human moment without fully entering it. That becomes important later because the movie slowly turns this skill inward. At first, misdirection is something Nikki does to strangers. Then it becomes something he does to Jess. Then maybe something he does to himself. The con begins with the eyes, but it does not stay there. Eventually, it reaches the heart.
You know, I'm like, come on, is this thing on?
The number 55 scene is the moment many people remember from Focus, because it feels impossible in the exact way a movie trick should feel impossible. At first, it looks like Nikki has lost control. The setting is already built for pressure. A luxury box. A huge football game. A wealthy gambler. A outsized wall of noise. Money moving from playful. Jess watching in panic. Nikki pushing the situation further than she understands. Every second makes the bet feel more reckless. And that is why the scene works so well. It does not begin as an explanation. It begins as anxiety. We feel Jess's fear because she does not know the whole plan. Her reaction gives the moment emotional credibility. If she looked calm, the scene would feel like a trick waiting to be revealed. But because she is scared, the audience is allowed to be scared with her. Nikki's confidence starts to feel insane. The movie makes us wonder whether the master of control has finally become addicted to his own game. Then the reveal comes, and the trick changes shape. The number was not guessed. It was planted. That is the key idea. The mark believes the final choice is spontaneous, but the environment has been feeding him the number over and over. Through signs, images, cues, repetition, and a final emotional push, the choice is made to feel free after the answer has already been placed inside his attention. This is why the scene is more interesting than a normal con reveal. It is not just about hiding information. It is about building familiarity. The mark does not choose 55 because he is commanded to choose it. He chooses it because, by the time the moment arrives, 55 feels available. It feels present. It feels like something his own mind reached for. That is a scarier kind of control. Because force is obvious. Planting is not. The Super Bowl setting matters here. For an American audience, this is not just any sports event. It is one of the country's biggest attention start. A place where ads, celebrities, money, identity, team loyalty, alcohol, spectacle, and emotional betting all collapse into one giant event. People are not simply watching a game. They are being surrounded by signals. That makes the scene feel more relevant now, especially in a culture where sports betting is more visible, more advertised, and more integrated into the viewing experience. The idea that a choice can feel personal while being shaped by the environment is not limited to a movie con. It is everywhere. Odds, promos, notifications, highlight clips, commentary, branding. The constant invitation to feel like your instinct is sharp. Focus turns that into cinema. What makes Nicky's trick elegant is not only that he predicts the number. It is that he understands the target's confidence. The wealthy man wants the thrill of winning. He wants the pleasure of proving his instinct. He wants the story of a wild choice that somehow works. And Nicky gives him exactly the emotional stage where that kind of choice can happen. The target thinks he is gambling against Nicky, but really he's gambling against his own attention. Jess also matters inside the trick. Her panic is not just a side reaction. It is part of the emotional architecture of the scene. Because she believes Nicky might be losing, we believe it too. The movie uses her uncertainty to keep us inside the con. We are not outside watching the mechanism. We are inside the feeling. That is why the reveal is satisfying. It does not only answer the question, how did he do it? It also quietly asks, when did we fall for it? Because while the mark is being primed, the audience is being misdirected too. We focus on the size of the bet. We focus on Jess's panic. We focus on Nicky's reckless smile. We focus on the rich man's arrogance. We are looking everywhere, except at the long preparation. And that is the movie's central trick in miniature. You do not control someone only at the final moment. You control the path that makes the final moment feel natural. By the time the number is spoken, the real choice has already happened.
We've been telling him all day. From the moment he left his hotel.
The most dangerous con in focus may not be about money at all. It may be the romance. That is where the movie becomes more complicated than a simple trick machine. Nicky can read strangers. He can guide crowds. He can make a rich man choose a planted number. But Jess creates a different problem, because she is not only a mark, and she is not only a student. She becomes someone who sees him while he is trying to control how everyone sees him. That is dangerous for a person like Nikki. His whole identity depends on distance. He can enter intimate spaces without becoming intimate. He can smile, flirt, touch, and perform closeness while keeping a private wall inside himself. That wall is what makes him effective. It lets him use human feeling without being trapped by it. Then Jess arrives and the movie starts asking whether that wall is real, or whether Nikki has just become very good at pretending it is. At first, their dynamic has a clear imbalance. He knows the world. She wants access to it. He teaches. She watches. He controls information. She has to decide when to trust him and when to doubt him. In another version of the story, she would only be the young student pulled into the orbit of the older, smoother expert. But Focus keeps giving Jess more agency than that. She learns quickly. She studies not just the tricks but the emotional posture behind them. She sees that the con is not only technique. It is confidence, timing, silence, the ability to make someone want to believe you. And once she understands that, she can use it back. This is what makes the romance tense. The chemistry is real enough for the audience to want it to be real. But the world around them makes every sincere moment unstable. A look can be attraction, but it can also be bait. A confession can be honesty, but it can also be leverage. A disappearance can be protection, abandonment, strategy, or all three at once. That is why Jess is such a problem for Nikki. She makes him lose focus in the one place where he cannot afford it, his own feelings. There is something very modern about that. Not because most people live like con artists, but because so much of modern connection happens inside performance. Dating apps, curated photos, careful messages, social proof, charm that may be genuine or strategic. People constantly ask small private questions without saying them out loud. Is this person real? Are they showing me themselves, or showing me what works? Do I trust the feeling, or do I trust the pattern? Focus exaggerates that through crime, but the emotional question is familiar. Can you build trust with someone who is trained to manipulate trust? The movie does not give a clean answer, and that is why the romance works better at tension than as a simple love story. Nikki and Jess are drawn to each other partly because they recognize the game in each other. They understand the thrill. They understand the mask. They understand the loneliness that comes from always calculating the room. But recognition is not the same as safety. There are moments when Nikki seems to care about Jess, and there are moments when his care still comes out as control. He withholds information because he thinks he knows best. He cuts her off because he believes attachment is a liability. He treats emotional closeness like something that can compromise the plan. The sad part is that he may not be completely wrong inside his world. Love really does make him vulnerable. But the movie also suggests that a life built only around never being vulnerable is its own kind of trap. So when focus shifts from pickpockets to romance, it is not leaving the theme behind. It is making the theme more intimate. Misdirection is no longer just where the eyes go. It is what the heart chooses to believe.
1, 2, 3.
Focus is a very glossy movie. That sounds like a simple description, or even a criticism. The rooms look expensive. The clothes look clean. The lighting has that slick, polished feeling. The movie moves through hotels, racetracks, luxury boxes, nightlife, and private spaces where deception somehow looks elegant instead of ugly. And for some viewers, that surface can make the movie feel light. Too smooth. Too pretty. Too much charm, not enough weight. But that surface is also part of why the movie is interesting. Because Focus is about deception that becomes easier to accept when it looks good. The film rarely presents the con as dirty or desperate. It presents it as stylish. There is rhythm in the thefts. There is beauty in the movement. Nikki's crew looks organized, almost professional. The world around them has money, speed, taste, and control. Even when something morally ugly is happening, the image often stays attractive. That creates a small conflict inside the viewer. We know these people are stealing. We know the marks are being used. But the movie makes the process satisfying to watch. It lets us enjoy competence. It lets us enjoy confidence. It lets us enjoy the fantasy of being so clever that the world becomes readable. This is not accidental. The glamour is part of the seduction. In everyday life, polish often changes how people judge trust. A clean website feels safer than a messy one. A person in the right clothes can seem more credible. A brand with good design can feel more legitimate. A social media account with professional images can seem more real. A scam that looks cheap makes people suspicious. A scam that looks expensive can lower their guard. Focus understands this emotionally. Luxury becomes camouflage. The expensive setting tells the mark, this person belongs here. The suit says, he knows what he's doing. The watch says, there is wealth nearby. The private room says, this is an exclusive world. And once the surface sends enough signals, suspicion has to push uphill. That is why the movie's style connects to its theme. It is not just showing us a glamorous world. It is showing us why glamour works as a tool. This also changes how we can read Nicky. His confidence is part of the costume. He does not only need to know the trick. He needs to look like someone who could never need the trick. That is a powerful form of misdirection. If a person appears too successful to steal from you, you may not look closely enough when they get close. Jess learns this too. She learns that the performance is not separate from the crime. It is the doorway into it. The way a person stands, the way they talk, the way they carry silence, the way they seem comfortable in places where other people feel intimidated, all of that becomes part of the method. For a modern American viewer, this can feel uncomfortably familiar. Not because life is a heist movie, but because persuasion is constantly wrapped in surfaces. Influencers sell lifestyles before products. Ads sell identity before features. Online scammers build credibility before asking for money. Even dating profiles often sell a version of the self before the actual person appears. The question Focus keeps circling is simple. How often do we trust something because it looks like trust? The film's glamour can make deception look romantic. But it also reveals why deception often needs glamour in the first place. Beauty softens suspicion. Confidence quiets doubt. Expensive spaces make danger feel exclusive instead of predatory. So when the movie looks too smooth, maybe that is not only a weakness. Maybe the smoothness is the trap.
Golden Gate. Kinds of people in this world. Just hammered.
Father twist in Focus can feel almost too convenient if we only treat it as a plot move. Suddenly, the man we thought was an enemy becomes Nicky's father. The shooting becomes a tactic. The panic becomes a method. The betrayal becomes family business. It is a big reveal, and like many reveals in this movie, it asks the audience to replay what they thought they understood. But the twist becomes more interesting if we look at what it says emotionally. Bucky does not just explain a trick. He explains an inheritance. Nicky did not invent this worldview out of nowhere. He comes from a man who treats survival, theft, love, and betrayal as parts of the same profession. Bucky is funny, brutal, useful, and damaging all at once. He saves Nicky in a way that also robs him. He teaches him in a way that also wounds him. He treats emotional pain like it is simply the cost of staying alive. That makes Nicky's confidence look different. Earlier in the movie, his emotional distance can seem cool. He is the smooth expert. The person who knows not to get attached. The man who understands the rules because he has mastered the game. But after Bucky, that detachment starts to look less like freedom and more like conditioning. Maybe Nicky is not calm because he is above feeling. Maybe he is calm because he was trained to distrust feeling. This is where focus quietly becomes sadder than its glossy style suggests. Bucky's lesson is not simply do not fall in love. It is, love is a weak point. Love gets you killed. Love makes you readable. Love gives someone else a handle. In a con artist's world, attachment is not just emotional risk. It is operational failure. And Nicky has built her life around that lesson. The problem is that the lesson protects him and damages him at the same time. It makes him good at the work. It lets him read rooms, anticipate betrayal, and disappear before things become too real. But it also leaves him trapped in a life where closeness always feels like exposure. That is why Jess matters so much. She is not just a romantic interest. She is the test of the inherited rule. If Nicky can care about her and still remain himself, then maybe Bucky's worldview is not complete. But if caring makes him weaker, then Bucky was right, and the whole romance becomes a liability. The movie never makes this clean. Bucky himself is not presented as only cruel. That is part of the discomfort. He does save Nicky. He does understand him. There is a strange form of love in the way he acts. But it is love filtered through damage. It is care expressed as manipulation. Protection expressed as violence. Family expressed as a con. That is a darker idea than the movie's surface might suggest. Many people recognize this pattern outside the crime genre. A parent teaches toughness because the world was hard on them. A family passes down suspicion as wisdom. Someone learns that vulnerability is dangerous, then calls it maturity. A person becomes successful by using a survival skill that also prevents them from being close to anyone. Focus turns that into a con artist family rule. The stage shooting, the Toledo panic button, the final warning about love, all of it reveals that Nicky's greatest skill may have come from his deepest wound. He knows how to move attention because his own attention was trained around danger. He knows how to distrust because trust was never allowed to be simple. So the father twist is not just there to surprise us. It shows that the real con may have started long before Jess, long before the Super Bowl, long before the marks. It started with a son being taught that love is something you survive.
All of it.
We do. They've been dreaming about that shit ever since they were.
By the end of Focus, the question is not just who got played. It is what kind of trust can exist after everyone has learned the language of deception. That is why the ending has such a strange emotional texture. It is funny, tense, romantic, bitter, and a little sad at the same time. Nicky survives. Jess stays in the story. Bucky leaves with the money. A watch disappears. People laugh when they probably should not. The plot keeps moving, but underneath it is a quieter question. Did anyone actually escape the trick? Jess and Nicky understand each other by the end, maybe better than anyone else could. They know the moves. They know the masks. They know when a smile may be bait and when silence may be strategy. There is intimacy in that. But there is also danger. Because if two people are fluent in manipulation, honesty does not automatically become easier. Sometimes it becomes harder to recognize. That is the unusual romance of Focus. It does not end by making the relationship pure. It ends by making the relationship legible. These two can see each other. They can read each other's methods. They can survive the same kinds of games. But the movie never fully removes the question of whether love, for them, can exist without performance. Maybe that is why the final watch moment matters. A watch is small, expensive, close to the body. It is an object of time, status, and touch. To steal it, someone has to get near you. They have to enter your space. They have to make you miss the exact moment closeness becomes access. That makes it a perfect symbol for this movie. Because Focus is not only about what people steal. It is about the closeness required to steal it. The film leaves us with that discomfort. The characters are charming, and the tricks are satisfying, but the emotional cost never fully disappears. Nikki can win money and still lose peace. Jess can learn the game and still be pulled into its uncertainty. Bucky can save his son and still prove that his love is damaged. Everyone survives, but nobody leaves untouched. For an American audience now, that final feeling lands beyond the movie. We live in a world where trust is constantly negotiated through performance. Online messages, dating profiles, professional branding, scam alerts, sports betting confidence, influencer polish, and public image all ask us to judge sincerity through surfaces. We are told to be open, but also careful. Trust people, but verify. Believe in connection, but watch for the con. Focus makes that tension stylish enough to enjoy, then leaves the unease underneath. That is why the title keeps working after the credits. Focus is what Nikki demands from himself. It is what he steals from other people. It is what Jess disrupts. It is what Bucky trained into him. And it is what the audience loses whenever the movie points us toward the shiny part of the trick instead of the human cost beneath it. Maybe the real trick in Focus is not that someone can take your wallet. It is that someone can move your attention so gently that, for a moment, their idea feels like yours. And maybe the most honest thing the movie leaves behind is this: trust is not only about believing someone. Sometimes trust is about noticing where they are teaching you to look.